Good afternoon, YouTube. I'm Carlos the King, StanceRank.com, and today's video I'm going to be talking about how to maximize size and strength as a power builder, or really, what is proper power building. Power building is one of those things where people kind of roll their eyes at for a couple reasons, and for a couple of valid reasons, really. For one, there is the idea that a man can't serve two masters, that the hunter who chases two goals catches neither. However, I will argue that power building, when done correctly, is one goal, not two. Next, what is power building? Like, is power building even a sport? Why would you even so for example, like a power lifter, they compete in powerlifting, they focus on powerlifting style training, their purpose is to build the squat, bench, and deadlift, whereas a bodybuilder, they're trying to have the most symmetrical, most aesthetically pleasing physique that they can create. Now, in both, there's competitions. There's bodybuilding competitions, there's powerlifting competitions. What about power builders? How do you, when do you peak? When do you know that you're as strong as you want to be and as big as you want to be? When do you know these things? And they kind of say that in a way to almost discredit the pursuit. However, to me, it's like, no, that's very valid. You need to ask yourself those questions, and that's what I'm going to be going over today. When it comes to the relationship between strength and size, when it comes to the pursuit of these two values, when it comes to being a power builder, I like to explain it using an idea borrowed from microeconomics, which is the possibility production frontier. And that is what it's called, but I'm not going to go too much into it. However, the idea that I do need you to understand, and it's an idea I've talked about already on the channel, and it's opportunity cost. It's when you measure the potential gains by what you are losing on another variable, or if an alternative path was chosen. So for example, someone who specializes in strength, as pointed out in this graph, so if you look at point A on the y-axis, the person who maximizes strength, the person who reaches the absolute pinnacle of strength, they will have to spend so much more time and they will get so much more strength gains than someone who focused on size, or someone who focused somewhere in between. Now, the same is true vice versa. On the x-axis, there is size. Someone who spent their entire training career focusing on the pursuit of bodybuilding will get a lot bigger than someone who focused purely on strength. Now, strength and hypertrophy are so closely related. There's a lot of overlap between the two. There's a huge relationship between the two. Obviously, the person who is very strong, as chances are, is also very, very big. But if you compare their body with the body of a bodybuilder, the size is there, but the symmetry, the aesthetic language, let's say the beauty of the physique might not be lacking. It's just this raw mass of muscle. You're built like a brick house, whereas the other one is built like a porcelain statue. Both are very valid, and both are signs of muscle growth. So when you do strength training, you're going to build muscle, but when you do size training, you're going to build it in a very particular way. So that's kind of why it's necessary to make that distinction between the two. Now, with power building, you need to understand that you are essentially choosing to get less of one to get more of the other. Now, like I said, there is a relationship between size and strength. There is an overlap between the two. Your goal as a power builder is to maximize that relationship to your liking, and that's very important, because power building is not a competitive sport. I mean, maybe one day it could be, where you have like a powerlifting portion and then a bodybuilding portion right after, who knows. But what I'm saying is that you get to choose what amount of strength will satisfy you. You get to choose what amount of size will satisfy you. You will be able to say, all right, I've seen enough, I am golden. You have that choice. You get to decide when that happens, and with that, you now open the opportunity to get more of something else at the cost of that top level strength. So let's say you are able to, if you personally, you as a lifter, you are able to accomplish a 600-pound deadlift, but your goal is only to hit 500. The amount of effort and intention behind your strength training will be a lot less than if you were to try to push far beyond 5 and try to go to 6. And because of that, you're now able to include a lot more bodybuilding style training. So going back to that relationship between the two, your goal as a power builder is to be somewhere on that curve, on that relationship. So in the graph, it is shown by points C and D. Point C is someone who is more focused on strength, but they still want some amount of size. Now, this graph isn't perfect, it's not done to scale, it's just meant to represent the idea. If you try to pursue only this amount, if you try to pursue this amount of size, this is the most amount of strength you can possibly get, or vice versa. If you only want to have this amount of strength, you are now allowed to have this amount of size training or intention behind your training. You can think of it that way. And then in the other direction, if you are a bodybuilder but you still want to be somewhat strong, think about this point on the graph right here. I hope you can see the cursor, where you are essentially saying, this is the amount of size that I'm going to be content with and happy with, and now you're allowed to pursue this amount of strength. Or you are going to be satisfied with this amount of strength, and now you are allowed to have this much size. That's what it means to have an opportunity cost. It means that what is the cost of you pursuing one goal over the other? Or if you pursue something in a completely different direction, what cost are you willing to pay on the other side? So for example, when you pursue strength, or if you are a size focused lifter and you pursue strength, how much is worthwhile to you? How much of it is enough for you to be happy? That is what you're trying to maximize when you are being a power builder. Now, on this channel, I'm going to do a lot of program reviews, and with those programs, I believe most programs follow into what is going to be represented by point E. This is where most power building programs reside. They are horrible strength training programs and they're horrible bodybuilding programs. They're what is called in economics inefficient. You could do better, but because of how it's just written out, you don't. And then you accomplish a sub-maximal amount of strength and a sub-maximal amount of size given your constraints of trying to pursue both at the same time. So that's one. But also, there's a huge issue in the mentality of people who pursue power building. It's that they don't accept that you are having to manage this opportunity cost between the two. And that is why they fall on this graph at point F, which is where they think that they can get the almost this is meant to be like essentially a one-to-one, but they think that they can get the absolute maximum amount of size that they could if they specialized solely on size, and they think that they can get that simultaneously along with the maximum amount of strength if they only specialized in strength. And you can't do that. As a power builder, you are accepting that reduction, you're accepting that cost. And why would anyone do this? For me personally, it's because there are virtues of the gym that are more important than just size training and strength training. For me, it's loving the gym, being consistent with the gym, and being true to my own goals. My own goal is to be as muscular and as strong as I can be. Now, the way that you approach those two goals is fairly different. But that's why when you bring these two together, you need to be very intelligent. You need to understand the limitations of pursuing them at the same time. And to me, it's the price I'm willing to pay, because it allows me to be consistent. It allows me to go to the gym and actually find enjoyment in all of the hardship that you voluntarily take upon yourself. Now, with this being said, this is the core essence of what it means to be a power builder. Is accepting this relationship, accepting this cost. And I don't really have any intention of competing in either one. I just am trying to improve myself, and this is the way of training that I want to do. With that being said, just because it's what I like to do, it doesn't give me the freedom to be a dumbass about it. It doesn't give me the liberty to train inefficiently because I just want size and strength. I still want to maximize both. And there's a lot of concepts and a lot of ideas that are going to conflict between the two, and that is why this channel exists. That is my mission of this channel, is helping you learn the truths that I learned trying to combine these things. So I hope you find this channel and this video useful. If you are pursuing size and strength, this is what you need to understand. You need to understand that most programs out there are inefficient, and you need to understand yourself enough to know that you are pursuing a possible goal. And your goal is going to be defined by these constraints. The optimal amount of size you will develop in relation to the amount of strength you want, the optimal amount of strength you will develop given the amount of size you want. These constraints is what's going to define your program. It's going to define your progress. It's going to define what you accomplish in the gym. Now, why I like to do this is because if you solely specialize in strength, you're probably not going to look as best as you could if you solely focused on, let's say, bodybuilding. And if you only focused on bodybuilding, you're probably not going to be as strong as you possibly could. So for me, I want to be able to wake up every day and be very close to my maximum strength and very close to my best appearance. Obviously, I'm very far off from that, but hey, that's the goal. Now, and the reason why I like this approach, the reason why I advocate it, is because most people will never set foot on a competitive stage, powerlifting or bodybuilding. Most people who step into a gym are trying to just get some amount stronger, some amount bigger. And it really sets me off when trainers, coaches will say, well, just choose one. If they have the goal of pursuing both, do it in the way that is the most intelligent and the most effective and the most optimal. And that's what is represented by this graph. This is not something revolutionary. It's not something that I have, like, let's say, made up. It's more so something that I just found to be true. The amount of strength gains I get is a lot better on a strength-focused program. However, I'm neglecting a goal of mine, which is size. And then let's say I go more so on the bodybuilder side of things, where I focus solely on size, but my strength suffers. For me personally, I like being able to be very close to my maximum potential of strength and very close to the best looking physique I can have. And then with this middle path at any given time when you want to specialize, it's a lot easier to go towards that extreme than trying to go from one extreme to the other. So that is my advocacy for power building. There's definitely things that I have forgotten or didn't bring up. So more videos will come on this topic in the future. But like I said, I hope you find this video useful in defining your own goals and understanding your goals. And I hope you find this channel useful in the pursuit of something that a lot of people kind of roll their eyes at. I want to make power building something that is more understood than it currently is. And I will get into that in future videos, but that is it for this video today. 2 videos today because I was cable managing and I got a new setup with my computer and everything, so yesterday I wasn't able to post. So 2 videos today. I'm feeling kind of productive and a little bored, so I'm gonna record a couple other videos. So I hope you find the content on this channel useful. Please like, comment, and subscribe. It helps out the channel so much. If there's any questions you have about this topic, if there's any topics that you want me to cover, please let me know. I would be more than happy to go over them with you. So thank you so much for watching again. I'm King, StanStrength.com, and I'll see you in the next one. Peace.